This is Alexa Lavoie reporting for Ribbon News from the Dollars-des-Ormeaux area. Last night, an incident occurred in which a Molotov cocktail was thrown at the local synagogue, congregation Bet Tikva, and the CJA, Canadian Jewish Advocacy building next to it. The SPVM is currently investigating the incident, and at this time, no arrests have been made. As of filming this report, some politicians have made public statements condemning this anti-Semitic act, such as Pierre Poilievre, Anthony Housefather, Justin Trudeau, and others. However, the Member of Parliament for the Liberal Party who represent this area.
But I'll say that everybody in the region has to work together to create a viable Palestinian state.
Samir Zuberi has not yet come out to condemn these attacks. Mr. Zuberi has somewhat controversial history related to the Jewish community. In 2002, he was involved in the pro-Palestinian protest at Concordia University in Montreal. On that occasion, a speech by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was scheduled but ultimately cancelled due to the protests. This event led to approximately $17,000 in damages to the Henry F. Hall building, injuries, and criminal charges. On October 18, 2023, during a question period, Mr. Zuberi emphasized that there are legal boundaries to freedom of expression, addressing rising tension in Canada amid the ongoing conflicts between Palestine and Israel. This current conflict began on October 7, when the terrorist organization known as Hamas led an attack against Israel. But as of filming this video, Samir Zuberi has not issued a statement condemning the anti-Semitic attack on congregation Bet Tikva that occurred within his riding. We intend to reach out to him for knowing if he condemned this action, but we haven't received any answer yet. Also, events like the one that occurred on October 28 in Montreal should not be tolerated and should be condemned. A man named Adil Sharkawi, a radical Islamic figure who was suspected of being a sleeper agent for the terrorist network Al-Qaeda by authorities, delivered a highly anti-Semitic speech.
اللهم عليك بالصهاينة المعتدين.
آمين.
اللهم عليك بأعداء أهل غزة.
آمين.
اللهم احصهم عددا.
آمين.
اقتلهم بددا.
آمين.
لا تذر منهم أحدا.
آمين.
اللهم إنهم لا يعجزونك.
آمين.
C'est de l'incitation à la haine, à la violence. Et moi, je compte sur les policiers pour faire leur travail.
This increases the hatred towards Jews and promote anti-Semitism as seen in the attack last night. Now, let's engage with people to discuss the rise of anti-Semitism here in Montreal and in Canada.
All right, first of all, I am the Quebec Regional Director for B'nai B'rith Canada, which is the oldest Jewish organization in the country. We've been around since 1875, and we were the first human rights organization in the country, and we still are. Mm-hmm. We fight hate against any community. We have an anti-hate application. I'm also, just shall we say, coincidentally, one of the ministers at this synagogue. I am the cantor. I'm the guy who sings.
Can you explain a little bit what happened last night to the synagogue?
When we came this morning for morning services, there was a smell of smoke in the area of the main vestibule, which we don't use every morning. Mm-hmm. And a few of the members went outside and they noticed that there was the rest of what appears to have been a Molotov cocktail that had been thrown against the building. And you can see that there are still pieces of glass here, and you can see that there's the remnants of fire scorching the doors of the synagogue.
How do you feel about this attack that occurred last night?
We are saddened that the hate that is propagated by people such as Adil Sharkawi and others at pro-Hamas demonstrations, and I've used that word clearly because they are very much pro-Hamas demonstrations. These words, which incite to violence, sadly, have found their home here.
Would you qualify your area to be a safe area, or if that changed through the year?
I believe that Dollar des Ormeaux has been a very peaceful area. In fact, when the tragic and horrendous murder took place in the mosque in Quebec City, myself and the rabbis from here and the president from this organization, we made it our business to go to the mosque on Ansem Levine and pay our condolences, pay our respects. I've even gone there to give blood at their blood drive. They've come here when we had clothing drives, and they have been very friendly. Everything was nice. But when you ramp up this kind of anti-Semitic hate, anti-Israel hate, and let's not call it anti-Zionist because that is, excuse my language, bullshit. It is not true. It is anti-Jewish hate, all right? Then what do you expect the youth to do next? You recall that in April here, on Israel's Independence Day, youngsters were tearing down the flags of Israel and burning them. And sadly, there was not any serious prosecution which took place.
Exactly. When you talk about prosecution or something like that, we see that your MP who represent you didn't come out yet at this moment that we are talking to each other to condemn what happened last night. What do you think about that?
Well, let's go back. He did not condemn what happened exactly 1 month. Remember, this date, today, is exactly 1 month after the atrocities committed by Hamas against Israeli men, women, children, infants, seniors, the infirm. Exactly 1 month to the day that this took place. So that maybe they're trying to send a message. But I've got to tell you that our MP did not react in any positive fashion on that day, October 7th, and hasn't reacted in any supportive fashion since.
Are you concerned that those kind of events will occur more in the future?
I would say unless the politicians take the handcuffs off of our police officers, and the police have been spectacular. We have nothing but high praise for Fadi Nagar and his whole team of police, for local Dollar des Ormeaux security, for our community security volunteers of the CSN, this Community Service Network, not the union. We have nothing but praise for them. But we know that they operate under restrictions. The politicians have not said enough of this. The Attorney General, Minister of Legal Affairs has to basically say, all right, that's it. Go out and throw the book at them.
I would say that we all have a purpose on this earth, and I think it's to do good, do our jobs, live our lives, be good for society, be part of something more than just our social media, what we see on TV. I don't think anything we see on social media reflects what's actually going on. There's always two sides to every story. And I think we can be a little more sensitive to each other, think less about me and more about somebody else, and have a little more empathy. And it doesn't do anything positive. I think the object of life is to contribute to build a society that we can all share together. So a conflict in one part of the world doesn't have to come here. Although we're all affected in our own ways, I think it's time to grow up. I think it's time to realize that things are wrong in parts of the world that we have to fix. And it's just one country after another. All we hear about is this one's angry at this one, and acting out like this. You don't want to see that in this area. I think it's just be more worldly. I think it's just the beginning of something. I think we're all sensitive to social media, and as I said, these things are not reflective of truth. It reflects the focus on the most extreme thing of the moment. It's the popular thing that gets everybody a rise. That's a lot of times what news is often centered on. But you don't hear about somebody woke up today and did a good deed and gave to charity. You don't hear about somebody went and fed somebody who was blind. You don't hear about somebody who did their job and saved somebody in a fire. We don't talk about those things. we talk only about so-and-so did this, and then it inflames you. And I think we have to get back to what's important in life and the reason why we're on this earth. I think people are emboldened in a false sense because they don't have a purpose and they need to find a better thing to do with their lives. There's no reason to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning, present anywhere else. If you're with a group of friends, you're just trying to be popular with your friends. I don't know the purpose of what they would do. I'm sleeping because I'm going to work the next day and I contribute to society, and they need my energy focusing on my job. I don't put my energies into destroying things. I put my energies into building things. And I think that's what the Jewish people stand for. That's certainly what this community stands for. And to see that not understood is just, it's a temporary insanity. I hope it's not something permanent, but I don't want to see it rise any more than what it is. I think if people have to take away their personal opinions on how they feel about something, and they're afraid when they say something that's going to be seen by somebody else on the other side. I think everything that is any violent attack should be condemned. From whenever it happens on the spot, condemn it. And as I say, you condemn it in the way that you're saying, I think you can do better as a society. Yeah, at this time of the night, you should have been asleep, should have been getting to work the next day and thinking about what you're going to do for your family and making the world a better place. If your energy is focused on that, I actually condemn somebody whose mind is not on their jobs and trying to make the world a better place. More than what they did, that too I condemn, but I would just say, let's do better. Get to work, do your jobs, live your lives as best as you can, and contribute to society.
It's just horrific. There's so much anti-Semitism going on. People believe all the BS in the media against the Jewish people who only wanted peace forever. And, Hamas should be obliterated. Terrorists should be obliterated. And the communities and the world needs to be educated about anti-Semitism. I'm concerned about it, and I think action needs to be taken by people who are in the law enforcement and not just say we're taking sides. There is no side. It's one-sided. It's terrorists against and anti-Semites against the Jewish people and against all walks of life. And anybody that doesn't believe that is very misinformed. Anybody that doesn't stand for Israel and the Jewish people and is not anti-hate is siding with the terrorists, with Hamas.
If you want to see all our report about the conflicts that is ongoing between Israel and the Hamas, please go over thetruthaboutthewar.com. We did send one of our journalists, Avi Gemini, on the ground in Israel to report on this story. So if you want, you can donate generously to offset the travel costs to send him there. Thanks.